Hello, welcome back to Trade Empires with me, by Jingo. And by Jingo, I'm on a roll. Well, on a roll of 1 in terms of scenarios, but 3 was in the 4th in terms of actual videos. I mean, then again, it'd be poor form if I was to get like 2/3 of the way through a scenario and just be like, no, done. Although I might have done that with Pharaoh, I'm not sure. Anyway, here we are at the next. We've done, if you don't count the fact that I've not done these missions twice, a fair chunk of the missions we've done the Seafarers of Phoenicia. It's a fantastic scenario. I really like that one. That one really grew on me. I also just like the idea of like just spreading myself out across the Mediterranean and a whole bunch of sea trade. And sea trade is the best trade because it's just so much better to fit 9 of an item in a Gorlos or 8 of an item in a Hippoium rather than trying to fit 4 on 3 on a mule or 4 on a dray and watching it trundle across the map. No, it's no good. So I did like that. I'm all in favour of the Phoenicians. But that's gone. We're now talking about the Persian Wars, which I called last video Greece and Persia, because it fundamentally is. To have a look at the info, we've got 4 merchant families. No, there's 1 merchant family. Beginning in different homelands. Your goal is to profit from the frequent wars of this period. First, the Persian Empire expands, and later as Alexander the Great attacks Persia. Your success is measured by your total wealth, and more particularly by the value of armour and swords that your family sells. It does not matter where you sell them. So, arms merchants are the best merchants. In this one, just sell them to whoever. It's very much a merchant way. It's not for us to determine who wins the Persian Wars, just that both sides buy all the weapons from us. So here we go, we've got the Aegean Sea, which isn't the Aegean Sea, looks very much like Anatolia to me, but never mind. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, and a choice of 4 different locations to start from. I believe in the information it said that the bronze comes from Persia and the Aegean. So if you start in Egypt or Babylon, you're going to have a rough time selling weapons. But also, if you start in Persia, you're in a terrible position. Because as much as I was saying earlier how I don't like land trade, it's nothing but. You have to travel across land to get anywhere. Well, then again, there's not a great deal of sea trade, but you feel very isolated in Persia. You've only got Babylon next to you, whereas everybody else has 2+. I think you should be able to get to Egypt from Babylon. I think you can cross the... well, you can cross Phoenicia. Is where you can cross. I'm going to start in... I should have rolled a dice or flipped a coin for this. I'm going to go for Babylon with a Nebuchadnezzar family, who previously was a merchant of mine, but seems to have founded his own dynasty. And what colour should I go for? I believe the Babylonians were purple in Civilization 4, but they were red in Civilization 3, and they were green. Actually, no, greener than that in Civilization 1. They're kind of a cyany colour in Civilization 5, I believe. I'm going to go with purple because I hardly ever go with purple. Usually yellow, possibly red, sometimes cyan, never purple. So let's see what we've got. Dwellings demand wheat, olives, figs, wool cloth, and ceramics. You must supply the 3 food sources and 1 other commodity to get dwellings to move into the market area. And 2 carvers next to each other, that's useful, I guess. So, what have we got? Well, we've got some olives down here. We could bring them into this rather fertile looking region. We've got a carver there, we've got a palace there, and the man's carnelian seals. There's carnelian mines dotted all over the place. I think Babylon's the only place that produces carnelian. There's a few places that buy it. Some necropolises there. Some palaces. Oh, there's 3 palaces in Egypt. That'll be useful. Useful to keep note of where all these places are, because they'll be buying swords soon enough. And Persia, ooh, that looks horrendous. It's just mountain. How they managed to get an empire out of here, I don't know. There's one palace there. I can't see the other. There, I can't see the other palace. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. So what I'm thinking is, where the palace is here. There's one palace there. And one in what I believe is I think Uruk is here. And Babylon is here. I may have had a play on this scenario a few months ago, but it's alright. I've slept since then. Vaguely remember when it happens. Yeah, iron swords in 356, but that was in the introduction. That I didn't mention at the time, but you can go back and look. It's part of the hints that they give. I've realised that you get quite a few hints from the descriptors of the scenario. It tells you when you get commodity changes and when new commodities come in. And that's the big one in this scenario. I don't think dyes come into it. God, I hope not. It's such a pain to redo all of your commodities just so your citizens can get dyed wool. It's like, I'd rather freeze than wear undyed clothes. So picky. Anyway, picky or not, speaking of picky, I need to decide a decent city site. Ooh. That's a lot of wheat, but it's not much of anything else. Now that's too good. I wouldn't be able to be... that's not bad. Where's the wool? Oh, it's over there. Oh, there's some over there. Right, okay. We can make something of this. So if I say a market. There. Okay, choice of one olive grove or the other, but not both. Typical. If I move it across one, I'll be able to get a river port. So I will. And that's Western Abu Sir. Which is odd because it looks like it ought to be a major settlement, but it isn't. We can have a ceramics place here. And where was the wool again? That's a bit too far. Although there is a weaver nearby. It's just too far. I might have to spend some money then. Well, nobody likes doing that. Well, I say I don't like spending money. I seem to spend the first 3 hours of these missions just waiting for an extra 500 coins to come in. Well, most of the wool's down there. Is it worth setting a weaver up there and just using that for the time being? Pick up one wool, pick up one ceramic, drop them off here. Doesn't sound very profitable, does it? I've got bar jars that takes papyrus reeds. Now, if you think I'm going to go all the way to Egypt to pick up some papyrus reeds that cost about 20, and at most sells for 40, you've got another thing coming. Not far off. I don't know. I'll be honest. I was expecting the lay of the land to be a little more obvious. There's nowhere that particularly suggests it's easy to get the 3 food crops. That's the only place where it's all in one thing, but there's an olive grove there, 3 olive groves and some wheat there, but no figs. Well, that's not true. Could set up Babylon here. Fig, fig, wheat, wheat, and bring some olives in. Could work. Could work. It will work. I've got a plan. I know the mission said I should be focusing on weaponry at this point, but well, on weaponry in this mission. But at this point, there is no weaponry. This is the peaceful before time. If I go, do I want to get the palace or do I want to get the wheat field? Or do I want to spend extra and get a bazaar and get both? That seems a bit extravagant, I'm not gonna lie. But I'll do it. There's Babylon. Here's some olives. We'll have a road that goes up here. We can't make use of the river because Babylon's not by the river. Or the rivers of Babylon. Well, the Tigris and Euphrates to you, although which one's which, I don't know. Interesting that it's similar to first civilizations in terms of you've got Zagros and you've got Mesopotamia, but Mesopotamia seems to include, I don't know, there was sea in Mesopotamia. You had the Gulf. So perhaps this is more Assyria. I don't know. No, I guess I'll never know. So what I'm thinking is we'll have this set up as a... Oh, this is going to develop into a town in its own right, isn't it? We'll take that and we'll purchase you because I'm a monopolist at heart. And we will have you, and I'll have to build my own weaver, but I'm still a monopolist at heart. Build all of these and probably find I can't afford a merchant. I'm getting pretty close. I should have stuck to a car. I should have done a carnelian route, shouldn't I? There's one. I mean, I didn't have to buy the potter straight away. I could have waited. So let's have... you call it Abusir to Babylon. Now, if we say Western Babylon picks up, that's better. 2 wool cloth goes to Southern Abusir. 2 wool cloth, 2 ceramics, goes to Western Abusir. Drops both of those. No, that's not what I meant to do. Then goes to southwestern Babylon. No, just southern Babylon. Picks up the 2 olives. Keeps the wool cloth and the ceramics. Then goes to Babylon. Sells it all. And I don't think... Babylon produces anything that Western Abusir particularly wants. No, they make their own olives. That's fine. Now I need to check where the headquarters are. Oh, it's there, just outside of Babylon. That's fine. Right, let's get Leonidas, who's going to be... Well, it's a good route because it's all overland. as indeed most of them will be in this mission. And you just go to Abusir, Babylon, and that's going to be my primary income for quite a while. So I am thinking, and that's always dangerous. I shouldn't have built that market big enough to take the temple in. I'm thinking about carnelian. I can pick up some carnelian, drop it off at one of these carvers, but I can't guarantee A, it'll go to the right carver, and B, the carver won't sell it to that temple. I wonder if there's any other carvers. Oh, there's loads. 5 carvers. You can't move for carvers in Babylon. To that end, there's a carnelian mine. There's a carver. Go to the Aegean Sea. And sell a carnelian to the Acropolis. Acropoli? Acropoli? No, because it's not Acropolis. And to the palaces as well. That works. Whether I can afford it or not, it'll cost 1,000, I think. Ooh, actually, I might not be able to afford it. Oh well. Oh, I've got to afford the bridge as well. I don't think I can afford it. Okay. Let's try though. Ah, it's only 70. Easy. So we've a trading post at northwestern Abusir. One at... I just want the carver. But I may as well put the weaver in for good measure. You know, be rude not to. Actually. No, I'm not building a town there. Eastern Celia. Go to the Aegean. And we will have trading post at Western Sardis. Sardis? Oh yeah, I guess we are. We're in Anatolia, or in the Mycenaean Age scenario. This would be oh, what is it called? I can't remember. Oh well, it'll come to me. Right, where's the palace? There's one there, and an Acropolis there. I'm sure I had more money than that when I started. Somebody spent it all. Leonidas? Actually, it's more you. Ooh, I can't even make a second route. I don't know what I did wrong there. I probably shouldn't have bought those potters just yet. Oh well. You live and learn. We'll be getting through the years quick in this one, rather than waiting to get through 100 years in Phoenician history. That was quite impressive, if I say so myself. Just had that whole scenario wrapped up 100 years before the end date. So I was like, well, I've got nothing else to do now. Oh, good lord. So, I had one route and I didn't do it right. You go to southwestern Abusir. Good grief. Fortunately, I don't think anything was lost Oh, I don't have high hopes for this scenario. Not gonna lie. 600 in debt, and so far as I can tell, I've not done anything yet. Okay, you go to the right place, pick up 2 ceramics. Lovely. And then try to sell it to a population that just isn't interested. This is going to be a long one. I'm 1,000 in debt. So at least the population's happy. Well, that talk I was saying last time about how I was happy to see prices falling. Not this time. Not even the slightest. Logically, it doesn't matter to me at all how well these towns do. It's just a profit motive in this one. Unlike in the last one where there was actually some points associated with population growth. That will make money, just not as quickly as I would like. What's happening in Babylon? Nice. You will actually make some money when you get there. Trundling along. Oh, 33 olives. I wonder how much money he will make. I hope it's more than 1,129. No, but the important thing is it was done quickly. And there's still some demand left over. Yeah, this route is going to quickly become profitable. Quite pleased with that. Also quite liking there's all these dwellings appearing here. We've got some food, but they've only got ceramics. Not bad. I mean, yes, it'd be nice if I had some funds, but this is not a bad starting route. I mean, he's breaking even. There's not a great deal to talk about when there's only one route, and it's quite a simple one. It's going backwards and forwards. But what I'm thinking is, wait here long enough, he'll do this route a few cycles, then I can get a Carnelian route on the go, and that's when the money will come in. He says. There we go, let's go. So we've got Eastern Celia, we've got Northern Ephesus. I just need 2 more. Now, I was thinking I could fit them both in a market. So that's what I will do. And I'm not... I was going to say I'm not going to bother with roads, but a mule won't be able to carry... Yeah, for the time being, I'm happy to just sell 3 Carnelian, but have it extra expensive in Ephesus. So if we go to Babylon, start in northwestern Abusir. I could do a camel. Yeah, go on then. I have to build a bridge, don't I? Oh, woe is me. Right, go to Eastern Celia. Oh, he can't. Oh, very good. Right, I'll give this a name. Carnelian Greece. Build a bridge. I didn't have to make it a road bridge. Jeez. You can now go to Eastern Seal. You get turned into carnelian seals. Then go... Western Sardis. Northern Ephesus. Regular Ephesus. And that should make a look at the demand on them already. That should make a reasonably healthy profit. Especially if I get a price gouger on the job, such as Hammurabi. Rather apt given that I'm in Babylon. Oh, I've just thought I'm crossing a region, and the region is... They're uncommon and weak, but that probably means that they'll catch me when I least suspect it. I'm going to take 3 men-at-arms. At this stage of the game, I should hope that should be enough, and I hope I make enough profit from the carnelian. So, buy it for 50. Well, buy a carnelian seal. Oh, that's not going to be very profitable. Not for the time being, anyway. Actually, no. It doesn't matter to me, because I'll just be... No, that's fine. I will buy you out soon enough, but not yet. So we'll go back to you. We will re-give you the orders, so to make sure you definitely pick up some guards, because I'm pretty paranoid about that now. And also, it was a good money spinner by the end of the last game. I'm pretty sure half my income was just coming from defeating bandits. It's very aggressive. Also, I can't quite get how big Western Abusera has become. Populations fluctuate. Where? Yeah, well, I guess Babylon's not the place to be right now. I'm working on it, though. This is a good idea to pause the game while planning a strategy game, thank you. Who told you to stop? Oh, so slow. To be fair, I probably couldn't afford to get away with just having it on continuous production at this stage in the game. I don't have those kind of funds available. Where's Hammurabi? Well, that's nice. Although he's buying carnelian seals for more than I would like. See, if I was to buy it out, the carnelian seals for me would just be whatever... Well, I don't know, whatever brought in, I guess. 50. That's why production in this game is always good, because even the base price of the manufactured material is worth more than the component parts. Otherwise there wouldn't be a point to it. I say camels are slow, but that doesn't seem too bad to me. Okay, that's kind of bad. I've changed my mind. Ooh. You know what, we could have a second merchant on that route. Do we go for one that's a river pilot, a seaman, or a seaman? Oh, let's go with Sargon. I wonder what the demand is like there. Hefty. That's hefty demand. What I might do is buy that that carver, because I don't like independent businesses. I'm making money off of my hard-working merchants. Oh, that's nice. Right. You. Out. Now, I'd also be inclined, might be inclined to get some roads on the go. What I could also do is sell carnelian to that palace there. There's 2 palaces here. Now, this is something I could definitely do on a mule. Or I could go to Egypt. So there's 3 palaces here. So I could do that on a mule. Actually, where's the 3rd one? There's one there, one there. Oh, one there. Yep, I don't see a problem with going down the carnelian route. What I'm thinking is it'll build up the infrastructure for when I have to sell weapons there. So, thinking ahead. There's also a lot of wool here, and I feel like I ought to be able to capitalise on that somehow. Oh, and the weaver. So there's sheep, figs, wheat. You bring some olives down here. And some clay. There's a clay pit there. That's a fairly convincing settlement. I'll consider it. We first need to get some money. Right. Yeah, I've changed my mind. They really are slow. But they carry a lot, and I don't mind because that gives time for the demand to build back up. I'm a bit worried having 2 on that route. I mean, they demand 4 now, but they won't always demand 4. Well, you know, I'm looking at that, and Hammurabi's not even left the region yet. Knew it! Oh, who's fighting them? Just barbarians. Oh, come on. Fortunately, it wasn't carrying anything. But that goes to show that 4 men at arms just isn't enough, apparently. There, that's fine. Oh. Yeah, you need to get back on that route. Let's see if we can find another carnelian mine as well. Don't like the idea of using that one too much. But I also don't like the idea of him doubling back on himself. Going here, up there, down there again. I mean, I could get another carver. That seems a bit decadent. I don't know. There's a carver there. I could go to that carnelian camp, go to that carver, and then go to there and the Persian ones. I don't know. I'll wait for some money to come in. Good Lord, what's the hold up? Maybe should have you always on. That's the hold up, is that these people keep on buying them. That doesn't mean you make a profit, so I shouldn't complain too much. That's nice. Always deal in luxuries, kids. There's one thing to take away from this. Particularly ivory, carnelian, and weapons. The real money is in weapons and ivory. I hope this doesn't get flagged. I sometimes wonder if the poor performance of this channel is because the YouTube algorithm just picks up on certain phrases. Like what was I saying earlier, the earlier video about weapons trading in cars? It picks that up and like, oh no, none of that. But hopefully, you know, with context. I mean, weapons trading in Gaza today is probably pretty valuable. Oh, look at that. There we go again. That's going to develop into a city if I'm not careful. I don't want to do that route, but I also don't want to build a second carver. And if I rely on them, I got dogs barking. Oh, jeez. This always happens when I'm trying to record. If I go here, I daren't use these carvers because they will just... I mean, look at the price of carnelian seals there. I might be as well off just bringing carnelian to the place. Or I could just carry on using them. There's 7 carnelian building up. Tell you what, I'll use this one, and probably regret it. So I'll have this. We'll set up a market. Here. There's, oh, it's Susa, it's not do beg its pardon. Right, I think whatever disturbance was going on outside seems to have stopped, but no, the dogs are still barking. Perhaps we could just sort of pretend it's part of the game. It's, you know, it's just dogs barking in the market, isn't it? Persepolis, I've heard of that, and ooh, I could actually bring pottery in from there. I'll put that in the maybe pile. Pascade. I've heard of that as well. I think that one's from... probably, both of them are from Civilization, to be honest. Let's not pretend they're more cultured than they actually am. Yes, I got that one the right way round. Let's not pretend I'm not as cultured as I actually am. So I have a new route on the go. And this one's carnelian... Persia. So we go to Western Susa on a mule. See if that's any better. Go up to Eastern Celia. Turn that to 3 carnelian seals. Go down to... I've already forgotten what... Oh, it's Susa, isn't it? I was going to say, I've already forgotten what this place is called. Susa, Pascade, Persepolis. I've already established that 3 men-at-arms isn't enough. So this is gonna cost me. Again, these are all useless. I'll hold on to Gilgamesh though. He'll come in handy when the bronze swords turn up. In the meantime, Cyrus, you go to Persia because that's kind of your thing. See, now I'm thinking about having another population centre in Susa. There's figs and clay. Well, you've got figs. What are you missing? Olives. There's nowhere with olives and clay nearby. What about pottery? No potters on that side of the map. They're all over here. I'm not trawling through the entire map to get to a potter. But I could trawl all the way over there, pick up some figs. No, it's olives that they need. So I could technically go to southwestern Abu Sir, pick up some from southern Babylon, drop them off in Susa, but that is that's just too much. What I'm thinking is there anywhere that I could sell the wool cloth here to? And the answer is not really, no. Although, figs, olives, if I was to pick up some wheat from Susa, some wheat and some ceramics, and wool from Susa and drop them all off there, that could work. I'm reaching. It's a stretch, so maybe not. I also don't have the money for a potter yet. Let's not get carried away. Let's just see where it takes us. I'm just happy with the Carnelian, happy with supplying Babylon. Could possibly have a second person on this route. Because they are not happy in Babylon, although the population seems higher than when I left. So they can't be that unhappy. They do need olives. Just olives. Do you need olives? No, they wouldn't say no, actually. And we have got Darius who does famine relief, so I'm thinking an olive route. So I'm thinking a good way of playing this game is like having lots of small routes. Yeah. So lots of small routes early on as the game progresses, kind of dropping these lesser profitable routes in favour of weapons and nothing but weapons. All about the weapons. Southern Babylon on a dray, pick up all of the olives, go to Babylon, sell most of the olives, then go to Abu Sir. Or Western Abu Sir. Was it worth selling wheat there? No. Oh, what a bad route. It's terrible. Oh well. Maybe Darius something to do. I suppose later on in the game I can just abandon some of these towns. Like, I'm not supplying olives, it's just not profitable enough. I would like to see how profitable this is. God, the game is quite slow when there's no ships. I mean, admittedly, I could make use of these rivers, but oh, that's nice. He's already turning a profit. And people at Babylon probably don't mind eating as well. That's fine. I quite like those two routes. I just thought on that Carnelian route, why not go to Babylon? I'll turn you into a camel, pick up there, go to Eastern Celia, but before you go to Susa, go to Babylon. Then go to Susa. I mean, what would be nice is just an insert market. If I didn't have to... That would make things so much easier. Like, I wouldn't mind dyes and things like that. Like, dyes are quite easy to deal with. Because you You just look at the routes that you're doing for consumer goods, pottery and various linen cloths, and just insert before that where you're making the dyes, and bring it to where you're producing the things. It's as easy as that, but you can't just Leonidas price gouging. Gouge for those essentials. So here I am having to remember Pascade Persepolis. There's no great hardship. Well, it will be if I pick the wrong market. It's no great hardship. Remember it when the route is this long, but when it's twice as long, it'd just be nice to be able to insert market above. I think you can do that in Railroad Tycoon. I can't remember now. I think that game came out in the same year, 2001. This came out in 2001. And you think about what was on the market in 2001, this is really quite a basic game. You can't even blame it on the age, really. It's just cheap. It was done on a very small budget, produced under budget, on time. It's fantastic. I often wonder if it's something you could create as a hobbyist, but I kind of think it would be difficult to make as a solo developer. But I also think Chris Sawyer was able to make Roller Coaster Tycoon on his own in assembly, which is like horrendous, and really close to computer language. Like it's pretty close to ones and zeros by my record, by my understanding of it. He did that single-handedly. Created this game. I think not single-handedly. I think he had two contractors, one to do the artwork and one to do something else. But most of the coding, most of the design, most of the he did on his own. I think he's a millionaire now, and rightly so. I think he did Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 by himself as well. But I think of all the moving parts in this game. It's like working out all of these, working out pathfinding, working out supply and demand. There are things I'd want to put in. I'd want to put in the ability to have warehouses, so you don't have to, when your merchant comes in, they don't have to continuously have to wait for your clay pit to start up again because it wasn't profitable before. There's so many little things, and of course there's the graphical interface. So this is a 2D landscape with 3D elements on it. I have no idea where to start with that, so I'd probably have to get some help in for that. But I say I'd have to get some help. I don't know how much of this I'd be able to code just by myself. I mean, I like to think that maybe I might be able to work out sort of profit and loss and when the point of sale takes place. Maybe. I don't know. But again, I have absolutely no background in game design. I just play them. Well, that olive group's a lot less profitable than I thought it was going to be. They're already satiated. Rubbish. Hey, look at that, we've got 4,000. I don't really know what to do with it. I'm going to buy that because it looks like it was making money. Actually, it wasn't. There's too much wool cloth. That was a bit of an impulse purchase. And with the disappearing from Babylon. I don't know why, they've got everything they need. Apart from ceramics and wool cloth and food. I mean, look at that, everything you could ever want. I think it was a bit rash there. There's not enough demand just in Susa to warrant that. So wool's cheap as well, so even though that's underpriced, it's still profitable as far as this is concerned. Although you could have fooled me, because that's cost me 251 since I bought it. I mean, I'm looking in Babylon as a place to sell. Why don't I go to Persia? There might be a perfect village just around the corner. I'm not seeing it. I could set up here, but there's no olives. Ooh, finally something's happening. Event expired. I didn't know that event had taken place. Persian mines are able to, again, able to produce. Top notch. Right, what can I do with this copper? Oh, nothing yet. But I'm waiting expectantly. Oh no. I wonder if we got a bonus to that, even though he's a price gouger, but there wasn't sufficient demand. I don't know quite how that one works. So much olives. So many olives. What a waste. I don't know. I'm struggling to see where I could fit another town in. Ah, here comes tin. Olives, figs, bring some wheat. Mix the two. Although you need olives. Ah. There's some olives. You need olives. These people don't need wool. They've got sufficient. Where do I bring the pottery from? Over here? Down here? That does seem a bit close. I don't like how close that is in case I ever want to expand Susa. But we have pottery, figs, no, olives, pottery, olives, wool. We could probably make something out of this. We could make something out of that. That's a tremendous amount of wheat. Although in the meantime, we could just have this route taking olives, but then Susa also needs pottery. There are plenty of olives there. Trolling all the way across the map to bring some olives seems a little much. But then again, pottery still needs it. I'm doing it. I can also use that bridge later. Well, that was expensive. Hope they appreciate the olives. So we stop off here. We could also do something with the river. Interesting thought. Like you could sell... Sell what? I guess I could sell pottery up here, but I'm already selling pottery there. Can I go out of the region on the river? No. It's a very disappointing river. I'm not going to lie. It's no Nile. That's why the Tigris and Euphrates weren't. They were too turbulent compared to the Nile, which is pretty predictable. Nice and steady. Just had an inundation every year, apart from when there wasn't, and then you had like the fall of the Old Kingdom, caused by like 10 years of bad harvests. That'll do that to a society. Oh, we are talking about famine anyway. So if I have olive, Ceramic Susa. You go to southern Babylon. Pick up 3. Go to western Uruk. 3 olives and a ceramic. Go to Susa. Now, could I pick up wheat, figs, wool cloth, ceramic, and then sell them at southern Babylon? Or am I just getting a bit carried away? Because I've got to do something with this wool cloth. I feel like I've bought that place on a whim, and it's just not working for me. I don't know. Stick a pin in it. We'll come back to it. That price gouging will work for a time being. I do feel I ought to be able to do something with that pottery. I wouldn't want to update this route because you go from Western Babylon all the way down here to get on the boat, to go all the way back up. Have I invented bronze yet? Oh, here we go. Thank you. I can review the victory conditions. Right, where is the bronze? Well, there's none in Babylon. Well, there's some tin. There's some copper. Can't do anything with it yet, though. Because bronze weapons haven't been discovered. We're still fighting with not even copper weapons, because they're not even a thing in this scenario. Thankfully. Can you imagine? Like, 50 years in, first 50 years, you're like, oh, copper arrows, I'll develop an industry there, and then gone. There's bronze. The Nebuchadnezzar family has purchased bronze working. It's demanded by an acropolis, arsenal, barracks, castle, fortress, palace, and stable. Right. Well, now what? Ugh. That it? Only 2. It's not even like a good solid demand. Presumably I have to wait until some of the demand buildings come in. I can't sustain that. Even if I got Gilgamesh on the chart, I mean, look how slowly that's going up. They just don't want bronze. Don't want bronze swords in the palaces. Now that's more like it. Persia attacks Media. Persia is supplying a distant war, and so has augmented all of its demands. Now that's more like it. But it's only temporary. So I've purchased clan warfare. Presumably that means I can build my own barracks. I should have checked that before buying it. Yeah, new structure, barracks. Ooh, quite a few in Babylon. That's better, that's what I'm talking about. So Susa's a place for swords now. And there's a barracks. It's a shame they're a bit all over the place. Oh, there's 2 barracks down here. That's fine, I can get on board with that. Well, no, I've not got the money to get on board with it, but I can get on board with it as a theoretical idea. Bring 4 swords. I mean, I could throw one to Babylon, but they're just not interested. I mean, what I could build my own barracks, I guess. I don't like it because it feels a bit gamey to me, just building your own demand buildings and then selling stuff to your own demand buildings. It's only 1,500 though. You could augment every palace with a barracks. Ooh. Just barbarians and a Scythian horseman. I don't know what I did them with my tongue. Hands off. 474. That's actually pretty useful at this stage of the game. Weaponry demanded. Military activity in the area of Babylon is creating a strong market for military goods. Nice. Again, only temporary though. Now I could make the weapons here in Persia, or I could make the weapons in the Aegean Sea. That doesn't look very sensible. I think Persia's the better bet. Lovely. Right, once the money comes in, I've no objection to using a camel to do this. I mean, you could also argue, you could say, by Jingo, why aren't you happy to build your own demand buildings and then sell stuff to them when you're perfectly happy to build your own production buildings? And to that I'd say, shut up. I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me to make more sense as a merchant to just create your own production building, because you're then having to supply the raw materials and then make use of the materials that come out of it to then sell somewhere else. The idea that you are, I don't know, creating your own market from which to sell stuff that you make to a building that you have bought seems a bit odd. I don't know. I'll be honest, there's no solid rationale behind it. There's 4 barracks in Persia as well. Oh, they are all over the place. What have we done? There we go. So there's 2 tin there, there's 2 copper there, there's some copper there, there's some tin there, copper there. There's loads. There's loads of bronze for everyone. In fact, there's a bronzesmith there. Nice. And there's a smelter there. So with a well-placed market. Ooh. I can incorporate all of that. Swish. So there's Western Persepolis. I'll do that. So then I don't have to face that moral quandary of buying my own production, placing my own production buildings. I do get the criticism. Because you could say, well, there's smelters here because this region is known for its smelters and this is a simple place for it to set up. Why would you set up a manufacturing plant in the middle of just some mines somewhere with no logistics around it, where people don't live nearby? It's a bit like in Pharaoh, where you set up like a housing block. Well, you set up just a crude hut in the middle of like a mining district that's miles from your city. It just feels wrong. But I'm not good enough at this game to make those kind of limitations on myself. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the money to come in, I can at least look at what I can do with this route. We can say, start in Western, let's call it Babylon Sword. Western Persepolis on a camel for the time being. Go to southern thingy what's it? Art Tucana. Back to Western Persepolis. Back to southern Art Tucana. And by my reckoning, you should come out with 4 bronze swords after that. Because that produces 1 bronzing. Yeah. We then go to Babylon. Sell 1 to Susa. And then I'm kind of lost. I don't know what to do with these. There's just not enough demand. It's a very weak demand. My primary, what I would rather do is build 3 markets next to each of these barracks. Wherever the other one is. Oh, it's there. So I'll do that. And that way at least I know there's going to be guaranteed income. I mean, I guess later on I could deliver to the palaces as well, but I just got this horrible feeling that they'll just be stuck there trying to sell swords at market price. It's a fair price. Oh, no, there's her. That's southern Uruk. And then one up here. There's a carver here. Could come in useful. In fact, that's not a bad place all told. If you could bring your own foodstuffs there. That's huh? De Kurigalzu. De Kurigalzu. 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 Oh, that's not so hard. Right. Back to Babylonian swords. So that was Susa. Southern Uruk. And De Kurigalzu. Huh, rolls off the tongue actually. Oh, look at that. The demand in Susa already. See, when it's 2 out of 3 coins and it's a single demand building, I'd be happy to have that augment demand, but I wouldn't want it to be the sole reason to go to a place. I think that's fair. Right now I just need the merchant, and I've got just the merchant in mind. Gilgamesh. Rather appropriate as well, because this is Gilgamesh land, and I think I can afford him now. Well, I don't think Gilgamesh went to Persia, but he's certainly Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, something like that. Right, on you go with Babylonian swords. We'll worry about roads later. We'll worry about wheeled vehicles later. Look at the Persian swords. We could probably do something similar. Essentially follow the same route there, but go to the 4... Oh, Persia's attacked Media. Presumably it's won. The rise of Persia. So there are 4 barracks, and 3 of them are actually not too far away. There's one there. Huh. Good job I didn't include that. That's a barracks, that's a barracks, that's a barracks. That's a barracks. That's miles away. Western Salt Desert. I'm sure that's exactly what the ancient Persians called it. Right, where was the other barracks? The other barracks were all reasonably close by, which was merciful. Oh, there's actual Art Tucana. There's Eastern Art Tucana, and wasn't there another barracks down here? Oh no, up there. I mean, this is fairly novel for me. I usually build roads everywhere. And that was one of the things they did. Rachel Bernstein, the lead developer in this game, said one of the things we shouldn't have done was let players build things. We shouldn't have been able to allow players to set up routes without building paths first. Because it essentially relied on AI pathfinding. It should have made it so it should have at least have had a trail. And then it's up to the human player to do the pathfinding then. But understandable. So let's have the Babylonian sword route. Rename it Persian sword. Or Persian. Persian, there we go. Save that, and then we just change the last four. In fact, change nothing apart from Eastern Art Tucana, regular Art Tucana, the other Art Tucana, actually no, Ecbatana, I recognise that one from Civilization, and Western Salt Desert. Save, and then we'll get, oh, I don't know, Naramsin. I just hope that copper can keep up. Weaponry demanded. Babylon is demobilized. I mean, there was no time to do anything to profit from make use of that event, particularly from travelling on a camel. Persia attacks Lydia. Aegean Sea is supplying a distant war, and so has augmented all of its demands. What? What on earth? How long have you been stuck there? Also, what was I thinking? Western Susa. I amaze myself sometimes that I'm able to get a decent score on this game. He must have been there bloody centuries. I bet he's going to get attacked on the way back there now. Probably cost me another 800 gold. Now presumably, like, I'm now thinking setting up, now this isn't bad. I quite like the idea of having tin mines next to the sea. And some copper there as well. Not enough copper by the sea. Precious little copper by the sea, actually. Although those two together is usually a good sign. Set up some bronze there. And then... 2 barracks. There's a barracks there. Barracks there. I could do it by sea. And if I'm doing it by sea, how much can I do by sea? I could set up a bronze sword maker here. Set up a sea route if there's some way I can get down the mountain. But I can't. And I can't sell... I could make that into a seaport. Fairly easily, actually. Actually, maybe not. That counts. That would be a seaport. If I can get a merchant galley, I can get 8 bronze swords. And I can do Greece and Egypt in one fell swoop. I was kind of assuming there would be 4 barracks in Egypt. I would have been disappointed if there wasn't. That's by the sea, that's by, well, the river. That's not by the river, but I could put a canal in. So if there's one thing I know about Egypt, it's that you can build canals here. Sort of. Not really. Close enough. Problem I have is that there's tin by the water, but not copper. And I think I'd rather have it the other way around. I mean, that's fantastic. 2 tin mines next to each other, next to the sea. I could pick up 8 tin. But there's no corresponding super copper production. Really bad copper production, actually. No canals in Greece. That's fair. I mean, it would have had to have gone sharply uphill in order to get to wherever this is. That's a shame, because copper, smelter, bronze smith, all in one place, and all it needs is tin. It's a shame. I mean, maybe I could just do it in 2 routes and do it largely land-based. Disappointing, but life is short and full of disappointments. Life is short and it's just... I don't want a second bronze smith there. Thank you very much. Right. Now that I've recovered from my disappointment, we can just get on with things. There's Eastern Phocaea? For something, for sale. Don't know where that money went. Two barracks here, 1 barracks there. Ugh. I've got to go to the sea whether I want to or not. Not necessarily. We could just have... Easier, very nice. We're going to have a land route for now. Take a mule and do 3 swords. Potentially go to the sea route later, or take to the sea when I'm ready to do Egypt. To barracks. Potentially, I mean, or I could just turn these all into sea routes. Might not be a bad idea, actually. So you go to southern Lydia, go to Mysia, go to wherever this will be. Go to wherever this will be, get on a boat, go there, go to Egypt. Yeah, I've heard of worse plans. If only I had the money for it. Well, I don't need the money to go to build a seaport here. See, I don't need to. And this should be fine. That's not fine. That should be fine. It's hard to tell with 1x1 demand buildings whether they're actually in the demand area. Right, that's all my money spent. So I will just sit on my hands and wait for some money to come in. Oh, it came in. It's gone again. I can't believe that. Why didn't anybody tell me? Also, nice to see that Hammurabi's making a tidy profit. Ugh. Buy my ceramics. I also need to buy that. Yes, you'd better leave. Alright, I've got some money. Go back to the Aegean Sea. We'll set up a seaport. Persia attacks Babylon. Babylon is supplying a distant war and so has augmented all of their demands. Again. I still don't believe them. See, Persia attacks Lydia, a distant war of the universe. As it's ended, restoring its markets to their previous state. Like, I was just getting into that war. I don't know how many wars ago. There's 2 wars going at the moment. There's a war in Persia generally, and Persia attacks Babylon. That's not a bad. That's not a bad supply for. That's not a bad place to get some bronze smelted actually. I wouldn't want to do it there though because look at that demand. Because I would be mixing up my supply and demand buildings, and you don't want to do that because that leads to confusion and delay. You have caused confusion and delay. So rewatching. First I watched was when I was like 8. Rewatching Thomas the Tank Engine, and you know, for a children's show, it deals with some pretty not advanced themes. Pretty, I was gonna say adult concepts, but no, adult in the sense of sophisticated. There is one episode where Donald and Douglas are about to be sent. Well, one of them is about to be sent back. They're the Scottish twins. The Fat Controller wanted 1. He got 2. And didn't know what was going to send one of them away, as you would reasonably want to. And the engines themselves held a disputation. And they called it that in the show. And I was watching that and I was thinking, what the hell's a disputation? there's me, a fully grown man. It's like, what you need is a disputation. A what? And there was another episode where I just said Thomas was conceited. Conceited? I didn't know what that word was until that's well into my 20s. And it means arrogant, in case you're wondering. In case, unlike me, you already know, because it's a fairly common word. So I've got a sort of fetish for buying up industries, so I'll buy that up. I will buy this up when I get the chance. I think this helps, but I think buying up industries helps because it means that you will always only pay the base. Like you will reap all the benefits from getting cheap raw materials. I think, rather than the benefit being passed on to somewhere along the way, a independent third party takes some of the profit. Carnelian Greece. Don't think you need marketeering, but you may as well. Oh, the music's nice in Thomas the Tank Engine as well. The themes are rather lovely, if a little short. I had a very pleasant week a couple of weeks ago. Just indulging in my inner childhood, I guess. I don't know. I had fun anyway. Cyrus unifies the Middle East. Preparations for a visit from foreign dignitary have made a very lucrative luxuries market in Persepolis. If only I was doing something there. Well, I was selling carnelian, I guess. Olive ceramic Susa. Famine relief, because somebody sell olives. Oh. Oh no. Oh, me bronze swords. Oh. I knew I'd forgotten something. You just knew it. Well, I didn't know it, so I would have done something about it. Oh. I don't want to think about how much that was. But let's think about how much that was. 648. What's that? 12. That's 2,400. At least. Plus, he had military kickbacks, so it would have been that. Plus, there was demand. Oh, God, that must have been at least 4,000 gold. Just gone. I'm sad now. Alright. That's over. Let's buy a bronze smith to make myself feel better. And if we go to eastern Phrygia on the camel, pick up some tin, go to southern Lydia, go back to eastern Phrygia, pick up some tin, go back to southern Lydia. Lydia, isn't that where Persia attacked just a moment ago? Take your bronze swords, drop off one in Mysia, drop off one in southern Phrygia. Phrygia? I don't know. Somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody will comment on my pronunciation. No, nobody has. You've all been very polite in the comments. Perhaps you don't know yourselves. But somebody somewhere, if not now, then at some point in the future, will be cringing horribly at my butchering of these foreign pronunciations. You turn into a galley with a single bronze sword to Chios, back to Lampsacus, back on the camel, off you go. Greek sword. Okay. Now that would have been useful for somebody that actually goes outside of the region. Oh well. Marketeering. Greek swords. And if I find some other tin, like here. Oh, it's frustrating that's not near the coast. I was thinking you could put 8 tin on there, sail over to here, turn it into swords, but I don't want too many swords to take to Egypt. Where's some more tin? I don't want to overload that tin mine. Not only does it slow down production, but it brings the price up. I don't want to bring the price of raw materials up. So that's southeastern Lydia. Fine. New Egyptian sword. I don't know quite what to go with that. Start with southeastern Lydia. To southern Lydia. This isn't going to get confusing. To southeastern Lydia. Fortunately, you can't select markets that are. You can't select markets that are next to each other. So, southeastern Lydia is. Southern Lydia is now off of this list. But if it wasn't, you can bet that I'd select it, and then forget I'd selected it. Southeastern Lydia. Southeastern, there we go. And then back to southern Lydia. With four bronze swords. Stop, think, stop, drop and roll. We'll go to Egypt. There's a barracks there. There's a barracks there. There's a barracks there and a barracks there. Simple. Western Abu Rawash. Western Heliopolis. I don't mind turning to road vehicles at this point. Heliopolis and wherever this is. Ooh. There's a palace there. That'll be nice. And a fig orchard. So, I think I don't know. I don't know at what point you need to have a river port and what point you have to have a seaport. I think it's to do with the depth of the water, but how can you tell? Right, is there anything obvious here that suggests that some water's deeper than others? Or can I sail an Egyptian barge can I take an Egyptian barge from here and kind of sail it round the coast until we get in here? I don't know. Let's find out. River ports may be built on any coastline and on canals. Choose a section of canal diagonals the screen. That's a shame. I thought that was going to be useful then. Right, I hope nobody else gets mugged with 4 bronze swords on them. Gosh, I felt that. Anyone getting close to giving me some money? Oh, Gilgamesh, you need to go back onto... is it Persian swords? Hello's Persian swords, Greek swords, Persian swords. No, you need to be on Babylonian swords. Me old son. Off you go. How long have you been stood there gawping? So, I mean, it would have been nice if the game to tell me a little bit sooner than never. I had to work that one out. We'll go back to Egypt. We'll put a seaport in. And that is everything I need. Apart from a merchant on the route. So we'll go to the Aegean Sea. Whatever the name of this place is. Lampascus. On a regular galley, not a merchant galley, because I'm not made of money. Go to Western Aru Rabash on a large reed boat. Large reed boat. 3. Go to Western Heliopolis. 2. On a mule. Tanis. And then go back to Western Heliopolis on a large reed boat, open to Eastern Rabosh, on a galley, back to Lampascus, on a mule. Whew. But at least Cambyses will be able to make some effort to that. Oh, almost forgot again. Like life hasn't beaten this into me. Well, this game hasn't beaten me into so much. Don't forget your protection. Now, once we've got some money, we'll have. And that's all the major demand buildings for weapons sorted out for each of the major regions. Yeah, Cambyses. You do Egyptian swords. Off you trot. Now I think the next port of call is probably to build some roads. I've been really quite cheap, so. But also, I just think it looks quite ugly. I know that's a bad reason to not make a perfectly sensible business decision. But I mean, look at this. It's horrible. I'd rather have some slow camels walking across nice fresh grass, whatever this is. Also, I don't even know what the best route is. In fact, I'm lost. So I need to go somehow get from here to here to there. Somehow. Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about the money. Is that really the best route? Or could I zigzag through there? It's quite a zigzag. I'll build half a route. No, I won't. Because I'm short by... What was that, 11? 12? Something like that. There we go. Things are happening. Things are happening. I've forgotten what route this was now. So we go up here, across here, through this mountain pass. Across. And down. Whew, that's pricey. And there's Persepolis, and there is Pascade. I've got to somehow get to the Western Salt Desert. What's the scores on the doors, incidentally? Well, I made 1,568 from special. But I am currently an animal handler, so I'm not fancy my chances. Persia attacks Egypt. Egypt is supplying a distant war, and so it's augmented all of its demands. Persia, get a grip. Calm down, son. You'll get yourself into a coalition war. Having said that, I'm making some boon dollar from this weapons trade. I don't know how you get there. Right, I think that's everything. I'll spend all my money on caravanserais. Oh, it's not everywhere. There's this place down here. Right, who's next to make me a lot of money? Oh my. Oh, that's nice. Weaponry demanded, military activity in the area of Babylon, creating strong demand. So the weaponry demand has moved from the Aegean Sea down to Babylon, but nobody knows why, because the war is currently taking place in Egypt. Oh well. There's roads. I can kind of see why I built roads at the start of the game now, because this is a bit of a pain trying to connect all that up, and then in Babylon connect all this up. Caravanserai there. You've already got caravanserais. You haven't. I don't have the money. Is anyone close to giving me the money? How far are you from Pascade? A long way, I think. I don't know, it's hard to tell with Persia. It's all just mountains and sand. Ooh, I could have another person on that route. You can use the caravanserai, you know. Oh, there we go. Stopped in for a drink. Well, he did. I'm not so sure about the camels. Camels don't need to drink. Now, if I have a caravanserai there, that should sort out all of the carnelian routes that go between Babylon and Persia, and all the sword routes. So, you ready for the fun bit? Here we go. Carnelian Persia. Actually, no. What I'm going to do first is wait until I can afford wheeled vehicles, because I'm not doing that again. Ooh, gold. Not that I can do anything with it. Right, Persepolis is fairly nearby. Yes. You'll sell one for 353. Huh. I was kind of expecting a bit more than that. Or at least to be out of debt. Right, what happens now? Who's close to making me money? Well, certainly not Miss Annie Padder. Still can't afford wheeled vehicles, so we'll carry on waiting. Oh, they'll make me some money when they get to Mysia. This little route is making me a pretty penny. Well done, Hammurabi. Also, we can afford wheeled vehicles now. Right, now comes the fun part. Wheeled dray. Carnelian Greece can't do anything. Carnelian Persia, you can all get in the wheeled dray. Egyptian sword can't do anything. Greek sword can't do anything. Olive ceramic Susa, wheeled dray. Olives, wheeled dray. Persian sword, wheeled dray. There's commentary. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Oh, Eastern Articana, which is somewhere I've heard of. What's up with that? Or is it regular Articana that's the problem? Yes, it is. Back. So where was I? Persian swords, wheeled dray, some fantastic commentary, name of route, name of transporter. Ooh, Susa. What's up with that? Well, it's not Susa, it's that's the problem. I'd forgotten all about I'm surprised because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Heaven knows why there's a barracks there. Oh. Product shortage. Babylon very strongly demands units of bronze sword. I'm not falling for it. If I start supplying palaces with bronze swords, there'd be... although, that does look very strong. Wheat farm. But that's because there's a war going on in Babylon. Persia attacks Egypt. Weaponry demanded. Yeah, there's 2 events taking place in Babylon. That demand isn't going to last. You know, but then again, it's money I can make on the here and now, and if it's a slow route and not terribly profitable, I don't know. I'm just looking at that and thinking that's a lot of bronze swords. People want to live in Susa as well. Don't know why. Gold smelting. Can't do anything about that. Not until I sort out caravanserai for Babylonian sword. That should be all sorted now. No, because I've forgotten about Southern Uruk. Babylon sword. No, because I've forgotten about the Kurigalzi. You'd think I would have learnt by now. Oh well. Right, this time's the time. Babylonian swords. Wheeled grey. Yes. Lovely. Oh, doesn't that look ugly now? What's this? I've got a ring road around Babylon. And why are you so pleased to live there? Jewellery making. Gold and lapis jewellery is demanded by academies, acropolis, palace and temple. Now that I can get behind. Particularly since I think gold and lapis are both made in Persia. If my knowledge of ancient Mesopotamia is anything to go by. Gold, lapis. It's a shame that they're on different areas of the map. Ah! Smelter, jeweler, gold lapis, everywhere. Lapis, lapi. I think I've queried that before. Not to the internet, where it'd be a sensible place, but to you guys. Not that I'm saying you're not sensible. Perfectly sensible people. Only that it's not something I'd expect an immediate response for. Kind of hoping that people stay here long enough, 2 hours in, to wait for that question, and then know the answer themselves, and then comment it, and then I'll get back to the comment, and I'll find out in like 2 to 4 months. So that's very manageable. If I just had the funds for a smelter and a jeweler. And I should do once all this kicks off. Because the beauty of it is that I've already got the route to all the palaces. Thinking ahead, you see. That's a good route. That's such a good route. Look at the price of olives there. 222. And he's selling 3 of them. Is Xerxes a famine merchant? Yes, he is. And a price gouger. Let's just take a look at this. So that's 6729. With that, he makes. Alright, let's see, that's 8244. That's at least 2,000. Actually, not quite. But it's enough to give him a special bonus. It's not that great, actually, but considering he's only selling foodstuffs and 1 ceramic. And people love me there. The population 17, I got nowhere close to that in Seafarers of Phoenicia. I feel cheated. But what I do have now is enough to set up this golden lapis jewellery route. The Southern Salt Desert. That doesn't sound very appealing. Where's your jewellery from? The Salt Desert. So we have a smelter there. I can't quite afford a jeweller yet. I also can't afford the technology for a jeweller. Putting the cart before the horse there somewhat. Right, so look at the merchant. Who's close to making me money? Gilgamesh is looking forward to this. I'm always a fan of Gilgamesh when he's got the bronze swords. They that's 4, 5, 4. He's gonna make a sizable profit. Nice, 1,300, 1,400. What was the point in? Did I get a military kickback then? I can't ever feel like I didn't. What was that before? I'd forgotten what it was before. Like 1,000. Did he sell for 1,800 or something? I'm not entirely sure what that is. Receive kickbacks when selling military commodities. What does this mean? Give me stats. Is it a 10% bonus? What do you mean exactly kickbacks? It makes it just sound like that Gilgamesh himself is just taking a cut. And that's not a bonus at all. So let's purchase jewellery making. Can't do anything with that, but never mind. Let's have a look at anybody else close to giving us a profit. Ooh, Cambyses is on his way to Egypt after costing me a fortune. Yeah, look at some of these routes. They don't look very profitable right now. But when you get on the wheeled dray and you go from being very slow to medium, that's when the money will roll in. He'll start putting these olive merchants to shame. The shame of it. I mean, this guy, olives and ceramics, and he's the highest earner. Come on, guys, you're supposed to be weapons merchants. I've lost Gilgamesh. There he is. Oh, what a torturous route. There's 517. I've got... I'm still fairly new into this. I'm only 100 years in. That never stops being satisfying. I don't know what it's like to watch. It's probably like second-hand satisfaction when a merchant comes in on a route that's highly in demand with a very expensive good, and you just hear that ching. It just hits me right in the dopamine receptors. Set up a jeweler. Nice. Why are you not? Oh, because I've not bought gold smelting yet. I mean, come on, couldn't you guess? You already know how to smelt bronze. How much more difficult could it be? There's the gold. There's some more gold. You already know how to smelt. Just put it in the fire and see what happens. Right, I think that should be enough to do Persia and Babylon. I'm not quite sure what I would do for the other two. That's the thing, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of walking. Because you've got to go from all that, from the other side of the map. You couldn't get further away, to be honest. You've got to go through there, travel through Babylon, travel through the Aegean Sea, to sell 4 there, and then do the same thing to get to Egypt. Although you could go through Egypt. You go through Babylon into Egypt, so perhaps it's not that bad. I always want to consider that I don't want to overuse that resource. Although I don't think that's be possible. And I don't know where else is quite as good as that. I mean, I could take some lapis from there, smelt it there, and be on my way. Yeah, I could do that, but first of all, I'm going to look at Carnelian Persia. Go to the southern salt desert. Also, I'm going to change that before anything, before I have to redo Carnelian. And call it Gold Ring Persia. Babylon, Susa, Pascali, Persepolis. Huh, I'd forgotten that. There's only 2 palaces per region. Oh well, that settles that then. Top notch. I just need somebody to do the route now. First of all, I need some money to buy somebody to do the route. Come on, Gilgamesh. Oh, no, you're too far away. You're too slow. Who's close to giving me money? Cambyses, probably. Oh, no, you're too slow. Who else is close to giving me money? No, that's far too far away. Oh yeah, I need to put some roads in Greece. Nice. Do I need to check the gold bring Persia in case they took any guards off? No, we're all right. Right, so I'm flush with a bit of cash, so I'm going to put some roads in here. So Western Sardis, one here. I think it's Northern Ephesus you go to. Just knock through those houses. Ah. It's not got the same because you've not got that little ching sound of profit. Have some road here, some road down here, and road up here. And that is ugly. Ugh. Well, you wouldn't get roads like this despoiling the Turkish scenery today. It's like, I think that's what it is. It's because they're quite small maps. So you look at that and like one tile actually covers a significant portion of the map. Oh, what's happening? Cyrus unifies Middle East. It's over. Darius organises empire. Preparations for a visit. What a busy man. So the Persian Empire has been officially established in 510 BC. I think I'm losing quite a bit of money because everybody's upgrading their transports. Now if I do that, and this... Now I think I can have an extra merchant on the Carnelian Persia route, but I don't know if I want to. I might want those Persians. I might want those merchants for military routes and military routes alone, because that's where the points are. And finally, if we have a path in Egypt that goes up and across and across, and then over to Babylon, across the Sinai Desert. Which was never a trading route for me in Pharaoh. Although I never played Pharaoh up to this point. I never got much further than the New Kingdom, I'll be honest. I know, it's shameful. The shame of it. And also, I'm not connected to all of the palaces here. So there's 1 palace, 2 palaces, 3 palaces. Can't afford it. Let's not get carried away. How do you feel about golden lapis jewellery? Air is the answer. They're not too fussed. They don't mind. Oh, the palaces will take them. Acropolis is not so much. If I'm going to risk that, I may as well risk bronze swords. Yeah, that's not bad, because I've got the profit-making bronze swords. I'm now focused on the point-scoring bronze swords that go to the palaces. So if I look at... I don't want to overuse this. Although having said that, they look fine. They're certainly fine. Do I have what kind of copper have I got? There's some over there, there's some down here. Yeah, that's just too far away. Wait, there's some demand. Horsemanship, that might be useful. Babylon's demobilised. There's a product shortage in Babylon. That's ended. So just the floor's gone out to the market for swords. And I'm about to enter that said market. I mean, this seems sensible enough. I'll sleep on it. In fact, we've gone over the 2-hour mark, so let's all sleep on it. And I'll work out a strategy for what's coming next. I'm not quite sure what's coming next. But what I'll want to do is set up a gold route to... I guess to Greece. I may as well just flood the market with jewellery. I mean, they're not too keen on it, but the palaces are. Is there anything else in here that demands... Well, there's 3 palaces there. Yeah, I could take them on a mule. I could go to the Aegean Sea, and 2 of these will be quite profitable, the other one not so much. That's fine. And then do the same with swords. But that's for next time. Thank you very much for bearing with me so far. And hope you're all sort of like geared up as I am for the next instalment. I hope I'm geared up because I'll be the one that's doing it. I'll see you guys presently. See you later. Oh, and feel free to like and subscribe and share this to a friend or colleague or random acquaintance. Though probably wouldn't recommend the latter 2 and not really recommend the first. But I don't think that's how it's supposed to go, the old plugs at the end. But it's I'm trying, okay? See you guys later.